What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? How are you all doing? Welcome to your favorite Kansas City Chiefs news channel. And today, we've got a video that's going to stir up some conversation. We're talking about unexpected changes in our roster and how that might impact the first games of the season. So get comfortable because this is the kind of news we need to analyze carefully. But before we get started, make sure to hit that like button to support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any updates about our Chiefs. All right, folks, if there's one thing we can't ignore, it's the moves that have been happening with the Kansas City Chiefs in the last few days. And believe me, they're not by chance. If you're a fan of our running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, this news might not sit well with you, but it's important to understand what's going on. And of course, we're going to break down how this impacts our game. Yes, my friends, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the guy many of us have put our trust in, is going to miss the first 4 games of the season. That's right. The Chiefs announced that he will be on the NFI list for the start of the season, meaning at best, we won't see Edwards-Helaire back on the field until around week 5. And the big question is, how will this affect our offense? Well, guys, with this absence, the Kansas City Chiefs didn't waste any time and have already strengthened the backfield. And they didn't just add one, but 2 running backs. So the question arises, is the coaching staff so concerned about Edwards-Helaire's absence that they felt the need to bring in 2 signings at once? Or is there more to this story? Let's break down these moves together. First, let's talk about Samaje Perine, who arrived on Friday. For those who don't know, Perine is a veteran running back who's been around the NFL since entering the league in 2017, most recently playing for the Denver Broncos. The guy is versatile, and the numbers show he's a threat both running and catching passes. Just last season, he rushed for 238 yards and received for 455 yards. So, he's an interesting addition, especially since our offense often uses running backs as receivers. Now the question is, can Perine hold down the fort while Edwards-Helaire is out? And that's not all, folks. On Saturday, the Chiefs made another addition to the backfield, Emani Bailey. This name might be new to many of you, but the guy has potential. Bailey is an undrafted rookie from TCU who had a solid college career with over 2,100 rushing yards and 18 touchdowns. He was waived after training camp but is now back, this time on the practice squad. The idea is to have another option to promote to the active roster on game days, at least until Edwards-Helaire can return. So, what can we expect from all of this? Let's analyze it together. First, let's consider the direct impact on our game. Losing a starting running back like Edwards-Helaire is never easy. He's a player who's shown flashes of greatness and has been an important part of our offense. But with this absence, the load will have to be shared between Isaiah Pacheco, Carson Steele, and now Samaje Perine. Oh, and of course we can't forget about Bailey, who could surprise us if given the chance. Now, I know many of you might be thinking, but what about Isaiah Pacheco? Can't he take on the lead role? Look, Pacheco has shown a lot of potential, but it's always risky to put so much pressure on a young player without giving him the necessary support. The arrival of Perine, who has more experience, might be precisely for that, to ease the pressure and bring stability. Perine isn't a guy known for spectacular long runs, but he's consistent. And that might be exactly what we need in the first weeks of the season. And speaking of consistency, let's talk about Carson Steele. Steele is a player who's also on the rise. He has that more physical running style, isn't afraid of contact, and could be an interesting complement to our offense. Just imagine, folks. Steele plowing through the middle of the defense, Perine as a dual threat running and receiving, and Pacheco adding that touch of youth and explosiveness. This combination could surprise us. But what about Bailey? How does he fit into this equation? Well, I'd say Bailey is a wild card. We haven't seen much of him at the professional level yet, but his college numbers are impressive. What makes me curious is how Andy Reid will utilize him, if at all. Sometimes, a player who comes from the practice squad can end up becoming a key piece in crucial moments. Let's not forget, we're talking about the Chiefs, a team known for getting the most out of players that many don't even consider. Now let's talk about the consequences of this change for the first 4 games. We have some challenges ahead, and facing teams like the Ravens without one of our main running backs could be tough. If the opposing defense notices that our running game is weakened, they'll put more pressure on Mahomes, and we know how that can end. That's why it's crucial for these new RBs to hit the field ready to deliver. And of course, there's also the role of our offensive line. They'll need to adjust quickly and provide support both in the running game and in protecting our QB. The good news is that our OL has shown a lot of solidity, but will that be enough? So, folks, what do you think? Will these signings make up for Edwards-Hilaire's absence? Do you think Perrine and Bailey will fit into Andy Reid's scheme and keep our offense at a high level? And what about Pacheco and Steele? Do you think one of them will stand out and secure the starting role? Drop your opinions in the comments. I want to know what you think will happen in the first weeks of the season. And that's it, folks. The season is just getting started, and there's a lot more to come. Let's stick together on this journey. See you next time, and go Chiefs!